Dr. Liddy here. Do you have adrenal fatigue? Well, I'll tell you, as a former family doctor, I didn't believe that diagnosis really existed. And even if I would have accepted that as a real diagnosis, I would have had no idea what to do about it anyways. But here's what happened to me. About a decade ago, I started to feel pretty exhausted. Now, not so exhausted that I couldn't do the things in life that I had to do. So I still got up every morning and went to work and saw a full day's worth of patients. And I still took my kids to all their activities. And I still managed to get a workout in before work too, because that was really important to me too. But when all the had tos for the day were done, I would plop onto my couch, and the only thing I seemed to have energy for was scrolling social media. And it just felt kind of wrong. I felt like, man, I've got the energy to do all the things that I have to do in my life, but I don't have much energy left for anything extra. Anything that was optional, I was like, no, thank you. I really would prefer to just sit here and rest. I slept like a rock. I was so exhausted when I went to bed at night. I fell asleep immediately when my head hit the pillow, and only to be startled by the alarm the next morning to get up and start all over again. In addition to feeling tired, I was noticing some midline weight gain. I felt like my hormones might be off because I was a little bit moodier than normal. Like I had a really great life, but I was feeling kind of annoyed and irritated at the people that were the closest to me. Um, and I certainly was having cravings for less than optimal foods. Now, I was trying to pull it together. I knew there were some things that I could be doing differently that might be helping myself, but I just didn't have a lot of stick to itiveness. So I would try a new diet or I would try to prioritize my sleep a little bit better. And I just had a hard time sticking with anything long term. It was around this time that I decided to go in for a physical because I thought maybe my thyroid was off. My symptoms really corresponded to hypothyroidism. And I thought that would make sense. I could have some thyroid replacement medication. This would fix everything. So I went in for my annual physical. And after a thorough exam and some blood work, I got the news that everything was perfect and to come back in the following year for a recheck. And of course, I was excited that nothing terrible had been found, like cancer or heart disease or something really horrific. But I was also kind of disappointed because if everything was normal, then nothing could be done to fix the way I was feeling or make me feel any better. So I kind of chalked it up to maybe this is the way it feels to be the age that I currently am. This is when I was beginning to learn functional medicine. And so I began testing myself through some of the functional lab tests that I was learning about. And one of the first things I did was I tested my adrenals. I did this by collecting my saliva 4 times in one day. So upon awakening, right before lunch, right before dinner, and right before bedtime, sent it off to the lab. And lo and behold, I had full-blown adrenal fatigue. Now, I was still working as a family doctor at this time, and I wasn't sure that fixing this adrenal fatigue was going to make much of a difference at all. But I had learned what it would take to fix it. And that included a combination of some supplements to be taken regularly, along with some lifestyle changes. And so I committed to it. I thought, I'll give it a try. What do I have to lose? So here I was somebody who had never taken any medications. If I was on an antibiotic and it needed to be twice per day, I was lucky if I remembered the first dose of the day, and I would often forget the second. But I committed to 3 times per day on a handful of supplements. And the only thing I did different with my lifestyle was if I didn't feel like it, I didn't have to do it. So I was exercising really regularly. And I felt like someone had given me kind of a doctor's note, like if you don't want to, you don't have to. So I stopped getting up really early in the morning to go work out and would just take maybe a light leisurely walk with my dog in the evening if I felt up to it. And I was taking a few more naps too. And I also kind of gave myself a break on the diet. I was wanting to want to eat really healthy foods, but sometimes I just didn't feel up to it, like preparing that type of food, or that really wasn't what my body was asking for. So I just allowed myself to eat what sounded good in the moment, prioritized my sleep, backed off on the exercise a little bit, and committed to taking the supplements regularly. Lo and behold, about a month later, I noticed something started to shift. I started to feel like my old self again. My zest for life was starting to return. I was feeling happier. I was feeling slightly more energetic. My sleep wasn't longer, but it was deeper. And I was starting to feel like the old me, the person that I kind of had forgotten that I used to be able to be. And that was just the beginning. The following month was even better than the first month. And then the month after that was even better than the second month. And now, as my energy was being restored, I had more energy and more motivation to cook those healthy meals and to eat better. So it was like a vicious cycle in the positive direction as my adrenals started to heal. It was only step one. There were things to fix in my gut, and my mitochondria needed it enhanced, and my hormones needed to be balanced. There were lots of other things to fix, but fixing my adrenals was life changing. And it's not just this way for me, it's this way for many of my patients too. So I would love to know, how are your adrenals? Because if they're not optimal, fixing them can make a world of difference in how you feel.